大家好，这里是石东。我一天到晚在世界各地到处跑嘛，所以很多人说觉得我看起来像一个 E 人。但是不瞒你说，如果说我们按照 MBTI 准确的衡量标准来说的话，我是一个不折不扣的大 I 人。所以直到今天呢，和陌生人说话其实还是会有一丝丝尴尬。就别看我现在变成一个在视频里和陌生人聊天聊得炉火纯青的抽象主义博主，我也很担心该怎么跟别人说话。我做过各种反抗自己 I 人直觉去和陌生人说话的尝试，然后我发现呢，这件事情的确是有一些诀窍在的。所以今天打算要来对话一群特别擅长和陌生人说话的群体——线上语言教师。准备好的人可以在弹幕上面扣下你会说几种语言。And my assumption is that because you're an online tutor, you speak with strangers all the time.
Every day, many strangers. You know what they say, fake it till you make it.
To try and remember people's names. The most important thing you own is your name. And if people come up to you and say, "Hi, Bob." Oh, he remembered my name? Wow, I'm important. When you become important to the other person, you have value.
Looking people in the eye when you speak to them makes you feel more powerful. It used to make me feel intimidated.
Can be really awkward to maintain eye contact with people. And maybe my number one is being positive. Also find staying up to date on current events is really helpful, especially on Cambly. When I'm speaking to people of so many different nationalities, it's really helpful to know what's going on in that country because often they just want to talk about that.
You don't feel scared like when you...
No, I just thought, why am I scared? They're just people like me. They stand naked in the shower every day, just like me. They go to the toilet just like me. They're not better than me. I'm awesome. They're not better than me. So once you realise how awesome you are, doesn't it? I was watching Grey's Anatomy one time, and she was saying before she goes into surgery, there's this thing she does. So you put your hands like this, and you put them on your side, and then on your side, and then put your shoulders back. That's a superhero stand. Open your legs and you take a big breath just before you walk into a situation. And it's like, and it is, it makes you feel like you own the place.
I think my father was also shy. It's a really weird word, but introverted in a way. First jobs, he became a salesman. He would never talk to anybody. He would sit in a corner. He was never outgoing at all. But then he started to take some courses on how to be a good salesman, how to come out and approach people and things. One of the books that was very, very popular and probably is close to 100 years old now, a small book, and it was called How to Win Friends and Influence People. You know, you don't have to believe everything the guy says, but he has a lot of good suggestions.
I used to be really shy. It's hard for people to believe. I couldn't look people in the eye. I couldn't speak to strangers. I was embarrassed all the time. I was horrendous. And then I had to go to a wedding alone. And I just split up from my husband, and I didn't know anybody at the wedding. And I was almost crying. I was so nervous. I sat in the car park. I don't know what happened, but I said to myself, just go in there like you've earned that. I don't know what came over me, took a deep breath, and I just walked up to the table of strangers and I just opened my mouth, said, "Hi, my name's Katrina. I'm going to be sitting with you guys today. Tell me about yourselves." And honestly, I don't know.
And it worked.
And it worked. Everybody thought I was amazing. And I don't know, we had a great night.
If you meet people that you just know you won't get along with.
Sometimes, but I would never say anything that I know would trigger them to start discussing on their favorite topic. I just make sure I start a topic about something else. One teacher who I really didn't like his topics, but I knew that he was having health problems. And so was I at the time. And so so how are you doing with your visits to the hospital? How's that going? Oh, yeah, yak. And then you go and get some coffee and you go talk to somebody else. And I didn't know at the beginning when I first met him, I never knew that there was health issues. So now we have something in common.
Asking the right questions, again, finding that common ground, asking them questions about what interests them.
If you can find something in common, which is like the same colored clothes or something, I don't know, then at least it's a start.
Are you a cancer survivor?
Yeah, I'm still alive, so I guess I survived.
What happens if
you get a student on Cambly who you just can't talk to, as in like maybe they don't respond to anything?
Oh my God, every day.
Really?
Every day. It's so hard. It's trying to pull information or pull answers. And I just have to keep going.
I've had so many students just yes, yes, no, no, or giving me one word or very short answers. Best thing that you can do is ask open-ended questions. So questions that they can't just answer yes or no.
Prompt a question and then it didn't reply with another question. These long, awkward pauses, do you find you have to fill the silence?
This is something that I read on a Cambly blog. So in case you don't know about it, they do talk about the awkward pauses. And one thing I've been told is don't feel like I need to fill the void, right? Yes, like my sort of job is to get people talking and using their English skills and directing the conversation. But people who don't talk a lot may feel obligated to talk in that pause. So if I'm filling it, then they're not talking. So maybe I've been told in the past to wait for them to speak. You remember we were speaking about those people who give you very little. If you just wait, they often feel obligated to continue the conversation.
Bounce to the next person. Maybe that's not about you. Maybe that's about them. Maybe they don't know how to do conversation. Don't automatically think it's you. It's not you. It's them. They bounce on to somebody else. That's what it is. See, you have to realize that you're awesome and not assume it's always your fault.
People can react to like random questions quite well.
Yeah, because if you shock people with a question that they find non-threatening, but it's just funny to talk about, it can start conversations. What do you think of the boss? No, that's politics. That's dangerous to talk about. Something non-threatening. So what instrument did you play when you were, especially if you know the culture that you're hanging around with, you can ask a question where you know they have an answer.
I try to make them relax. I try to find a common interest. So I think that's that's the first thing I do is try and find a common interest. Even compliment them. Oh, wow, I love that skirt. People love to talk about themselves.
Just nice to compliment people, make people feel good, and maybe start a conversation that way. It's just that question why, is asking why, or do you agree or do you disagree? One last tip would be act like the person you're speaking to is really interesting. Even if they're so boring, like the most boring person you've ever met. If you treat them like they're so interesting, and so yeah, you come up with some really great questions when you want to know more about someone.
First, realize how awesome you are, how interesting you are, and if they don't talk to you, it's their loss. It's not on you. You're obviously not interesting anyway, so I'll find someone who is more interesting.
就像是在这支视频里面讨论的，光是用自己的母语和陌生人对话，其实我们就感到紧张了，更别提要用外语了。这种时候，我还能跟外国人聊天吗？学英语和弹钢琴、打篮球一样，是要练习的。它是一个技能，是一个你不停的重复去使用才会越讲越好的东西。对于想要摆脱哑巴英语 ，Cambly 从学费、CP 值、上课时间弹性来说，是非常合适的平台。Cambly 是一个线上英语学习平台，提供1对1的语言交流服务，用户可以随时与来自英语国家的导师进行视频通话、口语练习、听力训练和文化交流。但是我这次上 Cambly 是因为想要交流一些和陌生人聊天的心得，这些也是 OK 的。就是在众多英语学习平台当中，真实来说，我个人觉得 Cambly 最特殊的点在于它模拟了一个很真实的英语环境。我们学外语其实最担心的就是没有环境，对吧？尤其是就是很怕会不符合现实中使用英文的状态。这也是为什么我们会讲哑巴英语，因为我们看的课本里面其实不符合真实使用英文的状态。这部分可放心 ，Cambly 做得很好。Cambly 上有超过45000名来自世界各地的母语外师，而且是有标注出每个老师是讲哪个口音的。所以如果说你对特定的某种口音有需求，是使用 Cambly 是更加方便的，让你体验更真实的英文不同的学习方式，学习更 native 的口说，提供了不同的学习方案，可能1周上2天啊，1周上3天，一周5天的课程编语都是 OK 的，是提供英语学习者的弹性购买和学习，大不了你就试上1个月，然后你把你的需求达成就行了呗。就上课没有什么业务推销，这些也是这个平台的一大特点。然后再加上因为时间灵活，非常适合希望提高自己英语水平的学生还有职场人士。还有另外一个我很欣赏的点是 Cambly 老师背景非常多元，教摄影师、设计师、 英语老师，甚至有一些喜剧演员、做银行的律师等各种职业的母语使用者。所以你一定能够找到你感兴趣的，或者是和你背景相似的英语母语者。这样子的话，你可以一边提升你的英语程度，一边又是一个比较符合真实语境，而且能够融入文化的一个学习环境。如果你想尝试看看 Cambly， 年底了啊，是时候有一些新的计划啦，是时候为明年做一些准备了啊。如果你也想要尝试 Cambly 的话，可以看我视频的置顶评论。现在是 Cambly 双11返场活动，限时最好4天。对不起，实用主义者，我们每次都主打在一年折扣力度最大，但是折扣力度最大铁定时间也特别短的时候来薅一波。记得在 App 或者是网页版的官网使用我的推荐码，即可领取第1到要5折的限时折扣。新用户注册也可以在首页领取1份免费的口语水平测试。购买套餐的话，还能额外获赠4节免费的外教课。我个人是比较推荐1周1.5小时以上的套餐，这样可以拆成3个30分钟来。记得点击评论区查看详情吧。总结一下，我们切回英文。In general, I feel like most of the advice that teachers have given are factual. I have used them in my own life. Certain things like remembering the other person's name and also finding the sort of connection. What I did learn from this Cambly conversation experience was actually the point about dangerous topics or political topics. If you have met me in person, which if you have, most people will say I'm a good conversationalist. Reason being, I tend to prompt really philosophical or odd, mind-bending questions. Some of my favorites include, what is your biggest insecurity? What is the most interesting thing that happened to you recently? If you have been asked by me these questions before, some of these things are very personal, some of these things are very vulnerable. There are instances, in many instances, I'll say it's a good 50-50, where the person that I ask refuse to answer. Ultimately, it depends. It depends on the person. And it depends on the type of person you are, the type of friends that you want to make. I'm very down to vulnerable conversations. I love it. I like getting to know the humane side of people. So I still will choose to continue to use that method. But by all means, talk about the weather. Find something in common. And just be confident. Try the Superman stance. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please leave a弹幕, subscribe, and remember to check out the Cambly's information on my pinned comment. I will see you in my next video, which will most likely be a Bali vlog.